Today's sponsor is Audible, who has more than 180,000 audiobooks and spoken word audio products. Get a free 30-day trial at www.audiblepodcast.com/baldmove. Welcome to The Watching Dead, the officially unofficial podcast for The Walking Dead on AMC. I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron.
And today we're talking about Season 6, Episode 7, entitled Heads Up. After a second watch, I kind of like this episode a little more. I'm ignoring the Glenn fiasco that was Episode 3 or 2 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people wrote in saying they didn't have such a problem with the payoff on that. And I mostly agree. The setup just made it so egregious that I was having trouble. But the rest of this episode is fairly good.
Sure.
There's some dumb stuff. Spencer does some real dumb shit later on.
But, you know, he's
a dumb person.
Yeah, and I think there is better, more subtle ways to show how the community's various responses to Rick is kind of changing his mind slowly about the value of the Alexandrians. But no, I think you're right. I think you're mostly right.
I feel like, is it Tobin? Is he the head of the repair crew, the fence crew?
He's the #1 disciple of the Cold Rolled Steel now that the other dudes that I don't remember his names have been eaten and killed.
I thought that Tobin's talk with Rick did a lot to tell Rick that maybe he's being a little too harsh on him, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he's not going about this the right way if he wants to integrate everybody.
And honestly, I'm not sure why we couldn't have these kind of more mature conversations about this rather than, like, why couldn't we start it here rather than having the Alexanders being so comically inept? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is finally where they're trying to move the story to, but we've had, a half a dozen episodes of Rick being proved right about these, like, they're children. They're children, these Alexandrians, and I just think that in any random sample of the population living in these kind of conditions for this long, it's just kind of laughable that they're as bad at it as they are and are so just squeamish about so many obvious things and also so weirdly decadent.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they're the lost Roman legion that's still maintaining a sense of civility and nobility in a harsh world, and they've got these walls and they got their canned foods and they're still throwing dinner parties, and it just that's always seemed kind of ridiculous to me. Whereas this Tobin, as presented in this episode, feels like a real character.
He does.
Who's like, you are a crazy man, and I understand that, and I understand why.
He's given Rick a little perspective on himself, right?
Sure.
Like when you showed up, you had a fucking grizzly man beard.
You were covered in blood,
and you were shouting
probably,
and covered in blood and stinking. We didn't know what to make of you.
Yeah.
And you came in and just acted like we should bow down, and it doesn't work that way,
man. Like you were one W short of being a wolf, essentially.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I like that. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, there were a lot of real characters in this episode, real people in this episode, and I felt like it worked better than, we give it credit for when we're live watching it and laughing in his face.
Well, but it's hard to... It's really hard to overcome the initial kind of all the 4 weeks that we put up with this entire situation when you're trying to do it off the cuff, because that's the thing that just dominates everything.
Yeah, no, as it should probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a recap to get into.
Do we want to talk? So, how much do we want to talk about the situation?
The Glenn stuff.
Yeah.
We had several emails on it. I pulled out just a couple.
All right.
I want to talk about it. I don't know if I want to wait until feedback or not, but the only thing I really want to say about it is that I don't think it was executed as poorly as I imagined when I first saw the quote-unquote cliffhanger, which I don't think was a cliffhanger. I think it was more of a bait and switch. And the only reason I'm so down on it is because of the way that they ended that previous episode.
Okay.
I think what they should have done, and what would have made it less of a fuck you and more of a cliffhanger to me, is get him under that dumpster not last episode, but the first episode that we saw him.
Indeed,
when Dickless shot himself.
You leave him scrambling underneath the
and we're not
dumpster.
Like, is he or isn't he? We're like, how is he going to get out of this?
Yes. Now, where are you with the whole waiting 3 weeks to get back to it? Because I think that's
also crazy.
See, I think it's either of them would be a kind of, if they did that fake out, as you said, the bait and switch, which they also did in some form on True Detective Season 2, which is also not really well received. Mm-hmm. I feel like you can do something like that and then come back the next episode and resolve it. Then you've got the classic Adam West Batman. Tune in, same bat time, same bat channel to see Glenn escape this thing.
Yeah.
Or you could do what you suggest and have him scramble under the thing, and it's like, oh shit, how's he going to get out? And then maybe you can wait 4 weeks. Both of those are kind of cheap moves. It's cheap.
And when you combine them, it's
it's like when the Iron Sheik gets up there in the height of Desert Storm, and he's got his little Arab Sheik costume on. He's like, "Fuck you, and challenge the crowd to fight, and they're already pissed off at Saddam Hussein or whatever. And it's like that's just so Saturday morning cartoon, right?
It is,
but to have them both together is that's the big problem. Mm-hmm. And also, it's like the actual situation itself, I thought was staged poorly. Just like I mean, I just couldn't believe as I was watching it the way that Glenn's body is staged and the way the shot is blocked in between every single cut is radically different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the way he's positioned.
It's the van off the bridge scenario.
Right? So here's the thing.
They don't care about those small details.
We flipped our shit about the van flipping. What if the van was actually Glenn?
Yeah. That's
and it froze frame in midair and then made you wait 4 weeks to resolve the van flipping, and you saw how poorly it was done, and it's all pretty much, well, I wore a seatbelt, so we're fine.
Yeah.
This is The Walking Dead doing the same shit, except for now they're adding an almost social media trolling aspect to it.
Yeah, that didn't do them any favors, and I watched part of The Talking Dead, and we have some feedback on that. So I might save that part of the commentary until then. But yeah, it was poorly handled. I think more poorly handled in that first episode with Glenn, where he ends up with Dickless on top of him.
Agreed.
It was more poorly handled there than it was on the episode we just watched.
Agreed. I think that's the breakdown between like the quote-unquote haters and the quote-unquote lovers is like, to the extent that thing kind of, you can choose to not allow these problems. I mean, they're problems. Like, you can't say that bodies moving around and how far you are from a dumpster and you can't say that those aren't problems and continuity errors. But to the extent they bother you or not, that's a personal choice. But for me, when I have that stuff happen and it happens over like a multiple episode arc, it's like just bums me out and takes me out of it. And I think there's...
Sure. And especially when it was so obvious. I mean, it was obvious what they were doing, too. It wasn't like, oh, well, you guys are crazy. There's no way he can get under that dumpster. Or, they obviously said he's going to get under the dumpster. Well, they didn't mean to, but they did say that.
And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You add the social media, like the press releases and the clarifications and all that. It's just, Anyway, I feel like we've covered it, yeah?
Yeah.
Jim, Thanksgiving's coming up.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of Americans, they wake up early Friday morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe they don't even go to sleep. They're surrounded by carcasses of dead turkeys. Mm-hmm. They've huddled underneath a dumpster overnight for warmth, and it's time to emerge blurry-eyed and go out to face the Walking Dead horde that is Black Friday.
Yeah, the teeming hordes. If
you go to Amazon.baldmove.com, you can skip all that. They got Black Friday sales. They'll be doing it all weekend long. They got Digital Monday. It's something you can only do.
I think they already have Black Friday sales.
It's like probably.
Sneak peek Black Friday.
The Christmas tends to bleed early and early. It's going to be pretty soon Black Friday all year 365. Sales, unbelievable sales all year long. But you can take advantage of it. Amazon.baldmove.com. The great thing about using that URL, instead of the boring old Amazon.com one, is when you use the link as we described, you go to Amazon, you get all the same sales and features and all that stuff, all the same prices, but we get a cut of whatever's in your cart. It's not an extra fee, it's just bonus that Amazon gives us to turn you on to their deals.
Sure.
It is an affiliate link. So
that's how they work.
And we make it real easy to do Amazon.baldmove.com. So yeah, don't just stay underneath the dumpster, whip out your cell phone. No need to fight the undead. get all your Christmas shopping done on Amazon and help out Bald Move at the same time. Amazon.baldmove.com. So he spends a whole night underneath this thing, and he's killed like this little miniature wall of zombies all around, so he's kind of sealed in. And there's a couple of grim shots of him sitting there up at night looking right into Nicholas's dead face.
And like running out of water.
He's running out of water. He's about to have to Bear Grylls it and drink his own piss.
It's got to be hot under there, right? Like, I don't know what time of year that we're talking about here, because who the fuck knows with these harsh Georgia winters. I imagine it's hot under a dumpster with like a suffocating wall of horrible stinking walkers around you.
Sure.
Like, he's got to be sweating a lot.
Yeah, and it's got to stink. But I mean, I guess you'd get used to that's the thing about the human nose. It gets used to base levels of funk pretty fast.
That's true.
We demonstrate that on a daily basis here in the studio. Especially on Broccoli and Beans Day. Why do we have a Broccoli and Beans Day? We're just asking.
You're right.
Especially on the double podcast days. It's just not good planning. Yeah. It's like Deanna levels of community planning. But anyway, he gets out of the dumpster. He wriggles out on the next day when the zombies have kind of been distracted. And I thought it was heavily implied that Enid did the distraction.
That can rolling?
That can rolling across, and all the zombies kind of like, I
thought so too, especially because she shows up kind of out of nowhere and is just kind of waiting for him.
Yeah. Which shows to show Enid is way better at surviving than even Glenn. Because she saw the stairways leading up to the high ground and took it instead of trying to bury herself underneath a literal pile of garbage.
Yeah, it does make me like curious. Like, I'm not saying this is a plot hole or anything. I'm just wondering how she found out that Glenn was in there, and like why was she in this area? Like, well, see, it makes so.
I guess this town, which I'm going to christen not Alexandria.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the next biggest settlement outside of the little subdivision that is Alexandria.
Seems like it.
So, like, that would be a good way station. Like, okay, I need to get away from this place and maybe spend the night here, and then I'll go on to the next settlement. The next, but it's so I felt like it made sense for her to be kind of shacked up there when the shit starts to hit the fan, and then she's stuck there just like Glenn, just in a way better position. So she says heads up, tosses him water, and it just lands in this puddle of filthy water.
And said heads up.
Yeah, I said too slow, schmo.
Yeah,
you can't believe you're not nimble and live after spending all night underneath a dumpster. But whatever. So Glenn follows her into the building that she's holed up in, and she's not willing to have a discussion on shit. She just wants Glenn to get the fuck out of there. And he's like, what happened? She's like, what happens? What always happens? People die. And it was people, not zombies. So Enid decides she's had enough of this conversation, and she escapes down the fire escape ladder that Glenn and Nicholas studiously avoided last episode. And Glenn races off after her.
And realizes, there's a ladder here.
Oh, wow. I mean, I just had to move this minor obstruction in my way to achieve freedom. Wow. I could learn so much from you. I want to always call it Ingrid, but it's Enid.
Yeah.
Apologize if the Ingrid slips out. Rick is patrolling the walls, and he's inspecting them, making sure they're still Holdens, like what a leader would do. He finds Morgan doing his little broomstick tai chi and says, hey, we're going to have one of them little chats that I've been promising.
For a long time now.
Although
it's a long time coming, and I keep telling you about it.
And I get it. It's not been, I mean, he had the first talk with him and then cleared him, and now he's having that. So it's not the same thing, but, we like to give the Walking Dead shit. So he also finds this bloody crack in the wall that caused so much stir on the internet last week. And it turns out, in fact, it is just blood dripping through a little minor imperfection in a wall. Hell, it could be a bolt hole.
So I guess zombies still have, like, flowing blood that squeezes through these fucking holes. Like, we don't see that when they get stabbed and shot and killed, right?
It depends. Sometimes the zombie's blood is black sludge. Sometimes it's red. I feel like it's like Nicotero kind of like looks at a zombie. He's like, you're reasonably fresh, red blood, or you just came out of a shit pile. You're black blood,
Okay, that works, I guess.
But yeah, ask a doctor how long blood would stay red and flowing in a human body. Probably not long, but whatever. He also then sees Maggie holding a lonely vigil on top of the wall, and she says, hey, I'm only up here because I want to be the first one to see Glenn's signal. And she kind of gets a little pessimistic and says, or maybe not. And he says, hey, Glenn's come back from way worse things. I mean, you yourself have put him in far worse positions. And I mean, remember that one run my wife sent you on for abortion pills and shampoo bottles? Like, you guys both almost died there and you came back. You'll see, everybody's going to come back. And he says, maybe we should be more proactive about it and think about how we can clear out these zombies so they can have a nice, smooth way in. That's a good idea.
Yeah, way to start thinking, Rick. Come on.
And I also say, but really take her, he's like heading off the obvious objection. No, really take her time on this plan. Do things right.
Yeah.
We got time. The walls are holding.
But I feel like that doesn't seem to be his MO, is thinking slowly, methodically, and clearly.
So then Maggie says, of nothing, I saw Judith the other day. She's really starting to look like Lori. And Rick gets all defensive. He's like, hey, well, what do you mean by that? Her lobes are fine. Leave my daughter out of this. And he huffs off.
Yeah, she's a little loby, but other than that, she looks just like Lori. No, so this is Maggie's, like, she's pregnant. We know that. So, like, now she's starting to think about it, right? She's like, oh, okay. She's imagining, like, is this going to be such a bad thing? Like, she's going to have a little ass kicker of her own, that sort of thing. You can see that the wheels are starting to turn for her, which I thought was good. I thought it was a nice touch.
Thank God.
It feels like it comes out of nowhere for Rick, I'm sure, but not for her.
Thank God there's no internet, or else we might, run the risk of her mommy blogging someday. Nobody wants that.
I don't know what that would look like for her, but
so Glenn searches the back alleys and streets of Not Alexandria and comes upon the reanimated body of Not Tobin stuck to the fence before putting it out of his misery. He
Zombie kill of the week.
Zombie kill of the week?
He did what no one else was willing to do and put this poor asshole down.
Yeah, I wonder if he's like, good God, who would just leave you like this? What animals? What animal? He doesn't even recognize him.
The other thing is, like, so he kills this walker here, who clearly is causing him no harm, right? He goes up and over this fence, no harm, no foul. Mm-hmm. And then he gets mad at Enid later for stopping alongside the road and killing this walker. Yeah. I'm like, Glenn, what are you doing, man? I don't know why he was mad about that, but
because he's being poorly written in this episode.
Yeah.
He finds the toilet paper confession, which I thought might have a meaningful payoff eventually.
It might. Assuming whoever
I'm not
his
even sure
wife
if
isn't eaten in Alexandria.
I almost think that maybe they made it explicit that she did get eaten. If we really paid attention and kept track of who was living, who was dying, you would make
Is her name on the wall or something?
No, I just felt like he made it and mentioned the name, and I don't know. It was one of those things where it's like, I honestly probably should have gone back and looked into that, and I just didn't think of it until just now in the podcast, and it's too late.
Was her name Betsy? Was that her name?
I don't know. Are you
Betsy
confusing her with the Fargo? I mean, that's the other thing. Watching 3 shows, that's 4 for me.
Yeah,
and all of them have a Betsy. It feels like, or Elizabeth. So it's getting confusing. So Rick's heading off to train Ron in the way of the gun, but he takes enough time en route to the training section to rip down some of Father Gabriel's prayer circle signs he's been putting up, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, he doesn't, like, Carl doesn't seem to agree with him. He's like, Dad,
Dad,
why are you ripping those signs down?
You know what Carl does agree with? Humiliating Ron at every opportunity and every turn. And I like this dynamic of Carl just taking broadside pot shots at Ron for his courage and strength.
It's just such a little shit.
You got to be brave, which is going to be a challenge for you. And also you got to be strong, which, hello, Noodle Arm. He's just start kicking sand in it's like, the back of a 50s comic book. He's just kicking sand in a 98-pound weakling. Ron wants to
And then the delivery on this line of you've got to be strong and wait for your moment. I'm like, it's bad delivery. Like, sorry, Chandler Riggs. Like,
he's trying
most of the time you're good. This line was not. Maybe it was because the line is fucking terrible, but
he's trying to do Rick's Southern Fried Batman. He's, got to be strong enough to wait for your shot. And it's just
it's bad.
Not enough testosterone there yet, man. Not enough testosterone.
And it seems like it's also foreshadowing, right? He's telling Ron exactly the thing that he does later, which is
blow
make
Carl's
preparations and then go in for whatever he's going to do to Carl.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's stalking Carl with a gun now.
Right, and that's Ron is putting every one of these digs into his little deposit.
Yeah,
his little...
each one he wrote on a bullet.
Yeah,
and he's going to fire it into Carl's head.
Ron wants to progress to actual target practice, but Rick's concerned about all the zombies outside and what kind of ruckus that's going to cause. And Ron kind of presses the point. He's very eager, and then kind of backs off when he sees that Rick and Carl are looking at him like, you're a little too eager to be slinging lead down range.
I just want to learn.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can give you one bullet you can keep in your pocket one of these days, Sheriff Ronnie. But for now, no. But he does convince Rick to let him keep the gun.
Yeah.
So he can sleep with it under his pillow.
I don't know why, but
work on loading and unloading and all that. So that's a valuable skill. Why not?
Yeah.
So Morgan goes to visit Denise for roundabout help with his wolf patient. But he doesn't get very far, and Rick interrupts him and says, hey, it's talk time. Talk time. You, me, now.
I thought he was going to interrupt just to say, we should talk later. I thought that would have been really funny.
That later talk's still on the table, Morgan. Don't forget about it.
Yeah.
Don't let it go cold. So Rick confronts him about letting the wolves go by telling him, hey, I thought it was weird that I had 5 wolves, one of them with a gun jumped me, and Carol over here says you let 5 wolves go, one of them with a gun. I just think that's a coincidence, Morgan?
Uh-huh.
And Morgan defends himself by saying, hey, you could have killed me when I was all acting crazy, stabby back in King County, and you didn't. So, I know you are, but what am I?
He makes the point, and then he refutes his own point, which I think is interesting. Like, it kind of makes sense with what he's
feels
saying.
Conflicted.
He does. He's like, I know I'm being a little crazy here, but look, you let me live. I saved Daryl and Aaron.
Yeah.
Maybe if I hadn't saved them, they wouldn't have come back. The wolves wouldn't have come back and attacked Alexandria.
Yeah.
Potentially. So maybe you did a bad thing in saving me. Then again, Daryl and Aaron wouldn't be alive. So how do you weigh this?
Right. And that's actually a fairly decent, nuanced point. But it's one of those things where it's like, I think the things you might need to do to get healthy mentally might not always be the things you do once you get healthy and you're stabilized.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. It's a bad example, but if you're an alcoholic, you got to, I guess, stay away from alcohol the rest of your life. That's a bad example. I don't have a great example. Let's say, if you're pushover, one of the things, if you're trying to do assertiveness training, is you'll probably be way more assertive than you feel comfortable with. And if you kept up that life philosophy, you'll eventually turn into an asshole. But the thought is, eventually you're going to get assertive enough that you don't feel sad inside and unable to relate to people and get the things you want in life. And then you can kind of ease back on the asshole throttle and fly level.
Yeah.
No one's here to hold Morgan's hand and walk him through that stage. So he's just stuck with full throttle pacifist.
You're right.
He's snapped off the handle. Full military pacifist power is how he's living his life.
Although I got to say, I'm side-eyeing Morgan like Bruce Banner every time he starts to get a little worked up. I'm like, he's going to start clearing again. Better watch out, guys.
So he says, hey, and I thought it was an honest question. You think I don't belong here? Like, I guess, it's like, I think Morgan would be like, I can take my stick and my backpack and my weird face mask and kick it on down the road, man. I can just walk the earth. It's worked for me so far.
Sure.
Maybe that should be the thing you do. And Rick says, you think you can make it now without getting blood in your hands? And he says, I just genuinely don't know.
And I don't know if we said this in the live watch or the instant cast, the instant take, but there's got to be something he can do in this town other than fight people, right?
But when it's an all hands on deck thing like that, I don't think you can. And that's what Rick's point is. You can't be a conscientious objector.
Make him a doctor. Him and Denise seem to be getting along.
But even then, in a doctor, like, you give Herschel a shotgun, he unlocks infinite ammo, and he goes ham. Like, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, but...
Like, if not, you're Tyrese, and we bitch about you until you die.
I was trying to go doctor because doctor seems like something that could also be useful during an attack. Like, we've been attacked by this force, whatever. These guys got shot. Help them out while we're defending the rest of the city. I don't know. Feels like there should be something he can do where his pacifism will not get everyone killed.
I don't know. It's like, I've been reading these old sailing books, and that's interesting that, like, when the ship gets attacked, the fucking ship's doctor, the cook,
the guys swabbing the decks,
everybody picks up a cutlass and a pistol and repels them, because if you don't,
you're dead anyway.
You're dead. And that's kind of like, that's the permanent, like, okay,
if you walk
in a perfect plan, you won't have to fight, but when the wolves come across and there's a little girl there, you got to do, or if I'm out trying to get an RV, you can't be having to, like, a big exit here, take one free gun as you leave. You can't be doing that, man.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought if you're going to have a debate like this, with all the build-up they've had, this is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I liked it. I really liked that scene a lot.
So, we'll notice that the church lookout tower outside is really starting to stress and strain and moan and groan. I got a bad feeling about this, Jim. Really feels like...
I mean, planks are falling off the side of it. It's
big tears are going into structure. It just doesn't look... And it's really close to the wall.
So I guess I like how they positioned this truck, because it became very clear that the truck went through like a corner that's close to the wall. So you could see if the structural integrity is weak, it would fall that direction.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
So we're back to blaming Spencer for all this again.
Yes, obviously.
It's all his fault. And by the way, they cut to this from here on out, like in between every scene, this structure is swaying and shimmying a little bit more. I'm not going to call it out every time. That would be ridiculous, but they are showing it visually. Rick and Michonne are moving forward with this zombie moving plan, and Rick wants to keep this just within the group, within the inner Rick circle, and Michonne just openly calls bullshit and says, "Look, I can't believe you're still doing this."
Yeah.
And right about then, Deanna bounces up with her plans for the expansion for after all this, and Rick is very dismissive, but Michonne does take the plans, and she kind of bounces off.
Yeah, I feel like Michonne should be leading this group. Let Rick be the I don't know, the general.
Yeah,
let him be some military officer, and let Michonne be the one who's calling the shots.
Right.
Because she seems way more level-headed. Like, the stuff that Morgan was saying in the scene before, obviously she understood it much more than Rick did.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of prompts her to go on this, like, you're still not going to trust these Alexandrians, like, we need more people, like, all this stuff.
Rick can be the Admiral Adama.
Yeah.
And she can be the president.
Rosalind.
Crazy Pants.
Yep.
Of the group, and they can have that. Although I found
then
that
they can
dynamic
struggle for
annoying
power
in Battlestar, so maybe
maybe
a better version of that.
Who's Baltar? That's what I want to know.
Eugene.
Abraham. Eugene?
Eugene's a good Baltar.
He'd be good, but he's not active enough. You get an Abraham loose, and I think he could do some damage.
Find out Rosita's is a figment of his imagination.
It could be Gabriel. I mean, Baltar's kind of a religious figure.
Speaking of toasters, Rosita gives Alexandrians basic zombie combat instruction, while Eugene just disassociates because he's afraid of dying. And Rosita says, "Look, you sack of shit. Dying's easy. Watching your friends die is hard, and knowing that you didn't do everything you could to save them and you're still alive, that's the hardest thing of all." And Eugene pees himself a little and then flounces off.
Good point, Rosita.
No, she took it to him hard.
You. This is my life philosophy here.
Yeah. And there's later in the episode, during the everybody stop and stare at the balloons phase, there's a half second where you see Rosita in a field alone giving Eugene private instruction. Because I actually thought, it's like, wow, you're kind of really ricking it hard here. You're in full Rick mode with Eugene. Like, he needs this instruction and you're just running him off. But I thought that the way they visually showed that, yes, she did, but she's coming back and, like, you need some after school work here, was a nice touch.
Some tutoring, sure.
Yeah. Enid prepares to leave an empty diner, probably not going to leave a tip. She looks like the type that would stiff the waitstaff.
I mean, the cake was really rotten. Really rotten.
When Glenn needlessly jump scares her and grabs her to keep her from screaming, we could have just said, "Hey, Enid," and gotten the same result. Glenn insists on bringing her back because Maggie would have wanted it that way, and she pulls a gun on him. And goddamn it, if AMC doesn't leave us hanging regarding Glenn's fate. Just cut to commercial, and I spent the next 4 minutes sobbing. If Glenn dies, we riot on Twitter just to get through it. We get back from the commercial, and Glenn immediately calls her gut bluff and takes the gun away because she's not.
Yeah.
She's a survivor, but she's not a killer.
Yeah, and the entire time she's got her finger off the trigger. Like, you can see it. She's clearly not ready to shoot him. And you know, after the instruction that Rick gave to Ron, we're all like, oh, yeah, finger off the trigger. She's not ready to shoot. Symbolic, I don't know. But, so why does Glenn say, I'm doing this because Maggie would want me to?
I don't know.
I don't understand that motivation.
And it also provides Enid an excuse to bitchily say, "Oh, does your wife want it this way?" throughout the rest of the episode to Glenn, which literally, every argument assumed that she says that at least once. I'm not going to call it out, but she does. I don't know, because Glenn he was introduced in this series selflessly saving a person's life.
And it seems like that's his MO.
thing. Yes.
And later in the episode, so I think it's because later in the episode they wanted him to say, I'm doing this for me now, not for Maggie. Or it's not for Maggie anymore. Like he's got some connection with Enid now, which is fine, but I just don't think making him a strangely detached character that is not him
I think it's
is the way to do that.
He judged that he'd have a better luck appealing to her, like, this person she doesn't know and is concerned, and I don't know. It's kind of like me saying I want this is not as strong as some third party that's potentially worried about you. Like, I guess. To me, I even put in my notes, this is not really a great answer to why.
Yeah.
Why are you enforcing your will upon me? And I thought a lot of this stuff was not the best, but we'll get into it. Yeah. So Tobin, actual Tobin, yes Tobin, and Rick work on repairing the wall. And Rick, because Tobin knows his stuff. Like, Rick's just slinging wood and banging shit together. And he's like, hey, maybe we brace it correctly and not be so haphazard about things.
Yeah.
So Rick's like, maybe these people aren't just...
It feels like
annoying skin bags sucking up all my oxygen and eating all my kids' food.
Eating all my dog food. So this almost feels like busy work to Rick. Like patching up this part. Because he doesn't have anybody else helping him. He hasn't called in the work
Which is kind of amazing. Like, that says a lot about Alexander, that he's the only one worried about the walls. Yeah. And yeah.
But it says a lot about him, too, that he's just out there doing things himself.
Sure.
It's like he doesn't want help or need help or anything like that. And it's... don't get me wrong. I love this scene. I think Tobin is right on about everything.
Yeah.
It was just weird that he doesn't get like Tobin and his work crew to go do this.
Yeah. So Enid dispatches a helpless zombie on the ground, and Glenn, as you mentioned, side-eyes her for no damn good reason.
Yeah.
And she's like, why? Would your wife not want me to kill that zombie?
It's gunpoint lecture, too. It's like, I am going to physically take you back to town, and not only that, I'm going to lecture you while I do it.
Yes.
Yes. Glenn, you're the worst.
So Enid takes down some marker balloons and ties them to her backpack, and she explains to Glenn, hey, they could be a useful diversion, which, good thinking, Enid. And he says, hey, guess what? There's a helium tank up the road if you want more, with more balloons and more rope. Or, as I call it, string. So they mosey up the road a bit. Tobin spots the blood coming through the crack, the same one we've seen a couple times now. And Rick hilariously says, that doesn't mean anything. Which I thought is funny in light of how much ink was spilt on what it meant last week.
Oh, yeah.
And Rick has the whole, you guys used to scare the hell out of us with your beard and your blood and your brutality, and you're wanting to execute our citizens and all that stuff. And he says, things have been moving fast and too fast, but don't give up on us. And again, you can see Rick, the crack in his blood-encrusted beard start to get wider. So Glenn's curious about Enid and who she stayed with, and she mentions she stayed with Olivia, who I think is the pantry monitor. But we know how good she is at keeping track of shit, let alone a wily teenager. So she observes, I was largely on my own.
Yeah.
And Glenn says she's afraid, and she says, I'm not afraid. And Glenn says, yeah, you are, again with the gun on her. She says, I don't need a lecture. And Glenn thinks she does need a lecture.
She does, yeah.
And she's going to get it, or else he's going to fill her full of holes. So Glenn talks a mess about you honor the dead by living, and she's just so over it. And I'm thinking this whole time, she'd be so much happier hanging out with Jill from The Leftovers.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, that's her speed.
Like, put Enid, Jill from The Leftovers, and the girl from Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah.
All together in a group,
Plaza.
and I would watch that show.
Yeah, April.
Yeah. It would just be them calling bullshit on everything.
Yes.
It would be fun to watch.
And rolling their eyes and scoffing. So, speaking of Olivia.
Well, before we move on.
Oh, okay.
It becomes apparent to me in this scene that Enid is worried about losing more people, right? Like, there's talk about her parents. Well, there's not talk directly about her parents, but like, what were you doing before this? And she says, I was alone and all that stuff. And then Glenn says his thing about honoring the dead by living or whatnot.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want to talk anymore. She doesn't want to lose any more people. And that's kind of why she's running away from Alexandria. She sees things going to shit.
Which is funny because this is literally The Leftovers bread and butter. Like, this one issue of how you insulate yourself from loss and experiencing grief and move on when terrible things are happening.
Yeah.
So she literally would be better off with Jill. So speaking of Olivia, as I said, this transition doesn't make sense since that was like 2 minutes ago. But Olivia, the pantry mom or pantry monitor who can't monitor shit. Ron pulls the old canned food that randomly falls on the ground caper on her. She buys a hook, long, line, and sinker, hook, long, and flinker, and he's able to steal a few bullets from the armory.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's a minor miracle that someone with so little gun experience would be able to pick out the right caliber and whatnot, but, whatever.
I feel like Rick might have told him what it was.
Plus, a lot of those guns have it stamped right on the side, and like, unless you're a total moron, if it's 9mm and you see another box that says 9mm, and, like, it gets more complicated with that, with Magnum stuff and all that, but, whatever. I'm sure he could figure it out. Mm-hmm. Plus, he's got the gun with him, so he could always just, while Olivia's spending the next hour fucking with the cans, he could just fuck with it until he gets it right.
Yeah.
Glenn and Enid manage to arrive at Alexandria and see that it's rolling with the zombie posse 20 deep still, and Enid's like, I told you so. The world is trying... And then this was an interesting life philosophy. The world is trying to die, and we're supposed to just let it. And Glenn says, you're wrong. Here's my opinion. And that's not how arguments work, at least how successful ones do. Like, we sometimes that happens a bald move, where we start arguing about something and we realize we're arguing on a purely subjective opinion. It's like, shit, now what?
Yeah.
Because
I can't prove it to you, you can't prove it to me, what are we going to do?
Yeah, you're fucked. But Glenn's not that smart, so he's going to keep trying.
Well, yeah, Enid's not that smart to realize that this is what's happening. She just goes, oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
That's true. Totally, yeah. He rejects her reality, substitutes his own, and it works.
Yeah.
Rick and Tobin are walking home from a long, hard day of cold rolled reinforcing, and they catch Spencer doing something incredibly stupid.
Oh my God.
So his plan was to do this cool ass commando run where he throws a grapple hook over the wall into the structure nearby, and he like probably in his mind ran across it like a ninja and springs lightly to his feet and leads them all off Pied Piper style and saves the day. What actually happens is his homemade grapple hook can't support his, lightly built weight, and it collapses, and he gets dropped right into the middle of the zombies. Miraculously doesn't die.
Thanks to Tara, is it?
I think Tara goes into fast action. She swings her body over so she can take unobstructed, one-handed shots hanging from the wall, which is admittedly pretty badass.
That's exactly what's in my notes. Pretty badass, Tara. Like, not super smart.
No,
because you're probably gonna fall and die, but you looked real badass doing it.
Yeah, like that's stone cold.
Like she's got full Catwoman pose going down the strut there. That's real cool.
And she then tells Eugene to go run and tell Rosita and Maggie to go fire the guns from their position because, just like Rick, she's concerned about the zombies congregating in one spot. Mm-hmm. And she just nailed headshot after headshot while Spencer tries to scramble up the rope and Rick helps him. And so Rick, after everything's over, screams at Tara, you almost died once for these people. What are you doing? And she just flips him the bird, which I didn't even know they could do on AMZ.
Yeah.
Has there been an unblurkled? Maybe there was in Mad Men. Maybe like Peggy flipped someone off.
Could be.
Maybe that's the thing. If you have a woman can flip off people. A man, it's too phallic. Sure. It's just like you can't have full frontal male nudity. Anyway,
did it feel to you like this thing with Spencer kind of came out of nowhere narratively? Like, given that we have seen Spencer's POV before, I found it weird that we wouldn't see any POV leading up to this for him.
Right. I mean, I think,
or at least a POV of a character spotting him doing something weird.
Yeah, or some stuff that made him feel like he has remorse for stealing all the crackers, because I thought it was weird, like when Rosita came up talking to him that night, I kind of felt like, okay, well, he's feeling bad about it, but then he immediately started shoving crackers in the mouth, kind of implying to me the opposite, that it really didn't get through to him, and now we see him doing something selfless and heroic.
It seemed out of nowhere, but I do like his justification for it after the fact.
Right.
That he's like, I felt bad, I wanted to help, you wouldn't have fucking listened to me. Because I know that. Right.
But on the other hand, your idea was stupid, so I would be correct in shutting it down. But on the third hand, Rick's plans recently haven't been any better. It's just he's a much better natural-born killer, and he can improvise his way out of them.
It's true.
So it's like, Walking Dead giveth, Walking Dead taketh away. Morgan comes back to Denise, who has all these cheat sheets of how to diagnose things like infection, stuff that I would hope they would cover in med school, and maybe you'd have some...
Floppers? Is that what she called this thing?
Yeah.
Floppers. What is floppers?
Fever, warmth, heat, pain, something and something. Inflammation and rash. And you spell inflammation with an E now. Is how you do it. No, I mean, I haven't gone to medical school, but...
okay, I don't know what it is.
My favorite malted milk candy is all I know.
Yeah, they're very good.
And he says, hey, I need to ask you... They have a kind of some witty repartee about faith and choosing, and then Morgan hits her with it. Wants to know about the antibiotic stash, which is weird. It's like, how are we stocked for antibiotics? And she says, we're good. Mm-hmm. But however you're stocked with antibiotics, you're never stocked enough.
That's true.
Because they're a finite supply, and you have to go get them at risk of your own skin. So at no time can you just, hey, antibiotics. Here's some antibiotics. Your throat scratchy, antibiotics. So, the kind of ethics of what he's asking, I thought it was weird that they throw in the fact that he's like making sure that the town has plenty. He doesn't want to impose. And he also says, I don't want to get you involved in anything that you may not want to be involved in. And apparently she's game to participate in his wolf rescue center because she follows him with a leather satchel that's no doubt loaded with medicine and supplies. For all the conversations that were treated to in mind-numbing detail, I kind of wanted to see him make this pitch to her and see how she... Because I don't have a good read on her, and having them go back and forth would have told me a lot more. I found that frustrating. Okay. Like, all the stupid shit that I have to watch Enid and Glenn say to each other, and I can't get a minute of him trying to... making his best pitch to an Alexandrian who is just attacked by people, that there's a man that might be dying in this bed, make this pitch that she's going to go along with. I would have liked to seen that.
If I had to guess, I'm going to say they're going with the doctor must heal sort of thing. Like, doesn't matter who, doesn't matter why, I need to make this person better.
Well, the other thing, slightly a little more mercenary than that, in a point of view, would be to say, you got to practice on somebody. Right?
That's true, yeah.
Like, what you do with him afterwards, like, maybe he can be tried, and, like, you could have a kangaroo trial and execute him. But that might not be a bad idea. That if you got some wounded people, you might need to practice an amputation or stitching or whatever. Like, these are people that you don't care one way or another. I know that's a little Nazi doctor-ish.
I mean, I
get that.
Like, is she going to go Mangala on this shit?
Yeah. I need twins. I need twins for my research. How else will I know?
It's good. She's going to piece together different parts of wolves.
It's
and
certainly
turn
a slippery slope, but it's kind of like, I don't believe in spanking children necessarily, but maybe you beat some ass in the zombie apocalypse. Maybe do some medical experimentation when you're trying to rediscover medicine. Yeah, like, I watched The Nick. They did a lot of fucking experimenting on people back in the day to get to where we're at.
True.
They just didn't call it a war crime because it got us to where we're at today, and it wasn't kind of kooky and crazy and questionable medical ethics. And also the patients consented to it because they're going to die.
Sure, yeah. That helps.
Yeah, I think we'd solve medical ethics
when it's not like
apocalypse.
Holding a gun to the head. You're going to die, so do these experiments.
That's how Glenn would run his surgical ward.
Yeah, it is.
I think you do need this surgery, and I don't think it's elective. So just sit down. We're going to whip your arm off. We're going to whip it on. We're going to reattach it to this dog, okay? Or I'm going to shoot you. So, where are we at here? Carol sees this.
Yeah.
And she is like, hell no. And she pawns Judith off onto Jesse so she can investigate it. Jesse, should be noted, has rediscovered her joy of metal-based artwork. And,
I was hoping Carol would knock that thing over again.
I'm thinking, well, good for you. You need a hobby.
Yeah, why not?
When there's fences to be mended and your son who's learning to shoot to be looked after and all that stuff. Just weld some owls together, and your son's doing his Phantom of the Opera routine upstairs. Just weld some owls shit together. While Jesse's getting ready, Carol has an upstairs downstairs type of conversation with Sam, who still won't come down. He has questions about monsters and about his dad and how killing comes into play. Like, did my dad become a monster because he killed people? Was he killed and then he turned into a monster? If I kill someone, will I turn into a monster? Like, this kid logic is kind of interesting how it works on Carol.
So, yes, I agree. This is interesting. Her response to it is like, killing is the only thing that keeps you from turning into a monster.
But you can tell on her face
what
that...
kind of monster is she going to turn Sam into? Sam, you got to kill.
Yeah.
You got to kill. Doesn't matter who, just kill.
Yeah.
Because that's how he's going to take it. Right? I mean,
right.
I don't know. She's going to turn this kid into something horrible.
Right.
That Jesse's not even going to recognize.
It'd be hilarious to see like a Carol and Sammy, like a Rick and Morty. Sammy, you gotta kill this wolf. You gotta stab it. Just get in there. Just keep stabbing. Don't stop stabbing.
I don't want to, Carol.
I don't know about this, Carol. I might turn into a monster. You just gotta stab him. Yeah, no. But I thought when she walked out, as she was saying that line, it felt like she was kind of beating a hasty retreat because she didn't like where this conversation was going.
Okay.
And there's something I don't know where it's shifting to yet, but I feel like there's some shift in her behavior, and I'm not sure if she's going to become more radicalized or kind of meet Rick in the middle.
Yeah, it seems like right now she is very much on the kill train, which is in stark contrast to Morgan, and we've known that for a few episodes now. But I think it's interesting as Morgan is battling with the nuances of this, that Carol kind of is not yet. Like she did that battle a few seasons ago, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, since
like
Look at the Flowers, she's essentially been to the right of Rick when it comes to like isolationist and xenophobia.
Let's just kill.
And yeah, you got to kill everyone that I don't recognize immediately. It needs to be killed, lied to, or used to prevent the other people I care about. And I don't know, like we talked about the Kirk, Spock, McCoy triangle. Maybe you got Rick and Carol and Morgan. Because they kind of like Rick's kind of in the middle, and they cover that spectrum well, I think.
Yeah, you're right. As much as I hate to admit it, Rick is somewhere in the middle between Carol and Morgan. Yeah. Even though I think he's still kind of off to the side a little bit on killing.
Sure.
And not taking care of people.
But it'll be interesting to see if they can all come together or where these are just going to be irreconcilable differences.
Yeah.
Carol busts into the residential jail, or actually she's trying a bunch of keys again. Morgan actually opens the door on her, and she confronts Morgan, demanding to know who he has in there. And that's where we're going to have to leave that particular plot line, because then we get to a couple of quick cuts of Carl moseying around Alexandria as only a kid in a 10-gallon sheriff's hat can mosey. Ron pulls up behind him, pulls his gun out of his waistband. That can't be good.
No, it can't. I wonder... So it's interesting to me, like... Why is Ron trying to kill Carl?
Oh, well...
It can't just be because he stole his girlfriend. That's not enough, even in the apocalypse.
He stole his girlfriend. It's revenge against Rick for killing his father.
Yes.
It is... It is his own feelings of helplessness and weakness that he feels like he has to get out.
To himself.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's a teenage boy, so he's primed to do stupid stuff anyway.
So I wonder, like, I feel like his animosity is more toward Rick. Like, Carl, yeah, he's not happy about Carl stealing Enid from him, but Rick killed his dad. And I don't know what he thought about his dad. We never really got any insight into that whatsoever, but it can't be good.
It seemed like he was pretty stand up for him, but only in... I don't know, man. It's hard for me to say he hates Rick more than he hates Carl. I feel like he hates them almost equally for different reasons.
Well, kind of where I was going with this.
And also it feeds into each other. Like, the more he hates Rick, the more he hates Carl, the more he hates Rick, the more he hates... And they also keep doing things like saving his ass and making him feel emasculated and, openly mocking his strength and courage.
Sure. And Carl's not helping, yeah. But so kind of where I'm going with this is I wonder if what's going through his head is, I'm going to kill Carl because this is what Rick did to me. He made me, like Rosita says, live with the fact that I've lost these people, right?
Yeah.
And say what you want about his dad. He's a shitbag, but he was his dad. I wonder if that's going through his head.
All right. Michonne starts pouring over Deanna's plans, and she's like, all right, the church rec center, that's well enough. Crops, okay. Barley equals intellect, and her jaw drops and her eyes get wide.
I've made a huge mistake. I can't encourage this.
Tara is looking for Denise, and Rick takes the opportunity as she comes up to him to apologize, sorta, but not. And he kind of... It's weird because... I don't think Tara kind of recognizes how crazy he's talking at this point. And maybe Rick is starting to realize how he's sounding. Because he's like, you didn't have to save these people. He's like, I know. He goes, but you could have died. And she's like, I know, but that's kind of what we do. This is the thing you and Glenn taught me about your group and why I'm part of it. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm fucking up.
Yeah, Glenn didn't have to let her live, right?
No.
I mean, she was with a group that just killed his father-in-law. Like,
right.
That's bad news. But he showed mercy.
Yeah. So Deanna walks up, and she's back to her sunshine self and thanks him, too. And... Rick's like, your son's stupid and almost got a lot of people, including himself, died. And she's like, well, at least he tried. And he goes, well, I could have tried. I could have used your son's dumbass distraction to jump down there and make a break for it and maybe get a car and successfully defend this town. You wouldn't want me doing that. And she just kind of smiles and chucks him under the chin and says, you'll be all right, Rick. No, she actually says, well, why didn't you? And he says, because he's your son. She says, wrong answer. I'm like... Was Glenn putting a seminar of like how to argue with people in the worst possible way?
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
I reject your opinion on your own mental state here.
Like I buy that he saved him in large part because Deanna's this kind of leader around here, and it would look bad to just callously let him die while he sprinted off to victory.
Yeah, I mean, she's saying you also did it because you're a good guy, right?
Yeah.
Deep down, I know who you are, Rick.
So then we get a view of everyone in Alexandria looking at these damn balloons.
Yeah.
A few notes. I talked about Rosita. There's a background scene of her giving Eugene private instruction. Gabriel's prayer circle, surprisingly well attended.
Yeah, for having no signs up, sure.
For having his signs ripped down and trod upon. Surprisingly well attended. Maggie gets a nice scene where she sees it and takes off sprinting. And we get a handful of kind of hopeful notes from the soundtrack and some truly terrible CGI balloons.
Were they CGI? I didn't care to check it out.
You didn't notice anything was off about those balloons?
Nah.
Like, surely it would have been cheaper just to let balloons go. Like, that's an easy, cheap, practical effect.
You got to get the camera guy. You got to get the shot framed. You got to get the focus pulled. It might not be.
We'll take care of it in post.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then all the tower that's been groaning and grunting all episode long falls and lands full force against the weak part of the fence and just smashes that section flat. This is Rick's worst nightmare.
Yep.
These strong walls have fallen, and now Alexandra's soft underbelly is going to be exposed to the tune of 4,000 walkers.
This is my dream scenario.
This
Rick's
is
what
nightmare,
I want.
your dream.
Yeah. Sorry, Rick.
And that's the episode.
So I really love that moment where they give you this hope. Oh my God,
Sure.
Glenn is alive. And then, so I really like it when they troll the characters instead of their audience. Like, here you go, guys. Here's a beacon of hope. Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Nope, the towers fell and the wall is down.
Yeah.
Now this is your worst nightmare.
Sure.
I love it.
That's, again, on balance, I think there was more good here than bad.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that their own choices the entire way led them to not have the impact they probably wanted.
Yeah, indeed.
And that's it. Today's sponsor is Audible, and they have over 180,000 complete unabridged works of fiction in audiobook format on audible.com. And you can get a free 30-day trial at audiblepodcast.com/baldmove. Make sure you put the podcast in there. audiblepodcast.com/baldmove to get your free 30-day trial. And it's kind of an exciting recommendation because this summer I was taking a big road trip with my son, and we're in the process of reading together the Harry Potter books. And I went to Audible, like I do, whenever I'm wanting, something that I can listen to in the car, and went to go, and they were unavailable. And I did some research. I found out you could only get them exclusively through J.K. Rowling's own website, and I was kind of bummed out. And then just 4 days ago, Audible was proud to announce that they got the whole series. So I don't know what kind of licensing deal and whatnot they worked out, but you can get the whole unabridged 7 audiobook set now on Audible. And I think that's pretty cool. And I've already exchanged one of my credits in for Goblet of Fire because that's the one we're on right now.
All right.
So, what's really cool about the Audibles, because I know some people just like listening to audiobooks. I'm not one of those people. I like reading books first and foremost. But what I love about Audible is that I can read the book on my Kindle. I can then leave my Kindle at home and get my Kindle app on my cell phone or my tablet and read wherever I'm at. And if I'm in my car and I got to keep my eyes on the road, I can have it read from the audiobook, and that stuff all stays synchronized with their WhisperSync technology. So like literally the page I'm on is the page I'm on and whatever device I'm consuming it on. I think it's a great, fantastic feature. Also, you can adjust the playback speed so it can read faster or slower.
I was going to say, I really like their player. It has a lot of key features that you need in an audiobook player. And I listened to Ready Player One last month with this, and really enjoyed my experience with it.
Yeah, it's a great way to inhale books faster, or if you don't like reading, to just get into it, because a lot of these guys are very professional voice actors, and they make it a lot of fun, very exciting. And being able to adjust the speed was my last pet peeve, because some guys just read way too slow, and I can goose them up technologically, and it doesn't make them sound like chipmunky or anything like that.